This is Backstage Bay Area, your all-access pass to the local music scene. Now here's your host, Steve Roby.
This is Backstage Bay Area, and I'm Steve Roby. Idris Ackamoor is a composer, saxophonist, theater maker, and Afrofuturist who has spent 5 decades bending sound toward social imagination. His new album, Artistic Being, was recorded live at the Lab in San Francisco. It folds spoken word tone poems into the long arc of his work with the Pyramids. Idris Ackamoor joins me now. Idris, welcome to Backstage Bay Area.
Well, it's wonderful to be here. It really is wonderful.
Normally I say greetings from San Francisco, but I understand you're a resident too.
Oh, yeah. This is home for me. I've been here. I got out here actually in 1974. So it's,
All right.
So it's been quite a while,
Glad to have you here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the new album, Artistic Being. I want to ask you a few questions about that album. The album features actor Danny Glover and actress Rhodessa Jones with narratives that confront history and speak to now. How did the collaborations with Danny Glover and Rhodessa Jones begin?
Rhodessa Jones is a longtime collaborator, partner, kind of family member. We've been working together basically since approximately 1981, 82. And she's been she was a part of my nonprofit performing arts company, Cultural Odyssey, that I founded in 1979. So she was actually the co-artistic director for many years. Right now, she's doing her own thing with her various projects, and I'm doing my own thing with my music. But so Rhodessa goes way back. And, as I mentioned, I've been here in San Francisco for quite a while in 74. And Danny Glover, of course, is a resident of San Francisco. And I think he was also born here. So he grew up here. Danny grew up here. And Danny grew up here in the theater ecology here, the environment of African-American theater.
Right.
So at that time, I guess in the 80s and the 90s, me and Rhodessa were doing a lot of duet shows, combining music, theater, dance, spoken word. And Danny would always come around and he'd follow us around because he really liked what we were doing. So he'd show up at our shows with me and Rhodessa doing this very, very experimental Black theater. And Danny came from a very traditional theater background. And then, of course, he went to Hollywood. All during this time, he still had his house here in Haight-Ashbury. And so he would show up at our shows. So we became friends. And he became very close friends with Rhodessa because Rhodessa continued in the theater environment.
Sure.
So this opportunity came about through a grant from the San Francisco Foundation that was basically to support quote unquote change makers in the arts community. So when this opportunity came, the first 2 people that came to my mind were Danny Glover and Rhodessa Jones. So I called Danny and we talked together, and same with Rhodessa. And we decided to do this collaboration that led up to a show at the Lab. Here, Lab is basically a performance venue here in the Mission on 16th Street, right off of Mission. And they've been doing programming for many years. So that's where we did this collaboration, which was a residency. So the show was in February, like 2nd and 3rd, 2024. And we were able to go in there, like we got in there like maybe on a Monday. So Monday all the way through Thursday, we were just doing residency activities, rehearsing, setting up the space. And then on Friday, we brought in East Bay Audio to video and record the whole show Friday and Saturday on state-of-the-art equipment. And so it was mixed live. The video was mixed live, and the audio was basically recorded on a 32-track board.
Wow.
So that's where, and then the performance was basically I have an orchestra I call it the Idris Ackamoor Orchestra, spelled, like the Egyptian Ankh, orchestra, which is one of the meanings of life is the Ankh. And so it's the orchestra. And it's like a 15-piece ensemble.
Yeah.
And so we performed Friday and Saturday, and both nights were filmed and recorded. And subsequently, my record company, which is Strut Records, which is located in London, and offices in London and Berlin, they decided to basically release it.
What would you say Danny Glover's and Rhodessa Jones's voices, what did that change about your arrangements once you heard the text against the music?
Well, I've always said that both Danny and Rhodessa have two of the most unique voices in theater. If you hear Danny Glover, I mean, if you're either a fan or if you've seen the movies and you hear Danny Glover's voice, you kind of know that's Danny Glover. The same way that you would kind of know that when you hear Morgan Freeman's voice, or when you hear Morgan Freeman, or even really Denzel Washington. But particularly, I think Danny has a very unique voice. And then Rhodessa also has this amazing spoken word voice that when you hear Rhodessa speak, you know that's Rhodessa. And I've always felt that that's how I look at my instruments. I've always wanted to, when someone hears Idris playing a tenor or the alto saxophone, I strive to make it so when you hear me play, you know that's me and no one else. You know, that's what I always strive for. You know.
Yeah.
And so basically, and then at the same time, since me and Rhodessa have been working together so long, a lot of this text she wrote when we were doing our duet shows. An example is the piece entitled "The Grandma Cole Story," which is the piece that is about actually one of my ancestors, my great-great-grandma Cole, who came over from Africa on a slave ship as a young girl, maybe 10 years old, 11 years old. And it's basically her story was told to me by was my great aunt. We call her Aunt Wee Wee. You know, when she told this to me and Rhodessa when we were passing through St. Louis. At that time, she was like 80 in the mid 80s. And she told us a story about what she heard from her, was handed down to her, that Grandma Cole as a child was let out of the hold by the slave masters and was allowed to run around on the deck of the ship because she was just 9 or 10 years old. But in the process, she saw a cage of birds and she just let those birds out of the cage because she was just, as a kid, I'm gonna let the birds out of the cage.
Right.
And she did so, and they flew all up into the sky. And for that, she was basically beaten and, really beaten violently and thrown back down, raped and thrown back down into the hole. So this is her story. Very, basically told through Rhodessa, and then Rhodessa wrote it was based on her story.
Nice.
The Grandma Cole story.
The Grandma Cole story is the first song we're going to play on today's show. Before we play it, is there a single image from that story you hope the listeners carry with them after the album ends?
Well, I think, I guess the image would be resilience in the face of adversity and in the face of basically odds that seem to be completely against you, and still coming out of it in a triumphant manner. And I think the story ends on her arriving in America and being sold in America, but she was there and she basically, and it talks about her embracing the child she had, but from the slave master, whoever it was that she did, she embraced the mixture that was going on, I think the end of it, she talks about whether it's black, blue, yellow, white, it's just embracing the varied multiculturalism, the African-American experience and our experience as Americans as provided.
That's a great lead up. Let's listen to it now. This is the Grandma Cole story from Artistic Being, and we'll talk more on the other side. This is Backstage Bay Area.
The Grandma Cole story.
Yes, she remembers. No more than a girl growing up at her grandma Cole's knee. She told her of her crossing over from Africa. She was just a girl when the white slaveholders let her up out on the hold. Now, the hold was where they keep the slaves all tied up like cattle. But they let her run and play on the deck of the ship, for they had no fear of one little girl.
I'd be about 13 years. Strong, small, and solemn in stature. The sea was so blue, so quiet that day. The sky so clear, so calm, I felt like I was placed in another world. A blue world. I'd be standing on the deck of the slaver ship, lost, alone, far from the white sands and greenness of my home. I'd be a young girl all cried out, empty, dead-like. I'd be standing on the deck of the slaver ship. I am hypnotized by the dark face reflected in the waters. I will never see my home, she tells me. My people, my village, again.
The sobbing has dried to a dull, rattling ache that echoes way down inside herself. The dark-faced girl she sees is staring back. Her eyes be deep and sad. They both be dreaming of flying into the blue waters, blue sky. The guinea hens cry a yellow sound, mournful. They be grieving as well, grieving for the village, corn, the tormenting feet of small children, the grass rooftops where they used to be to sit and escape their tormentors. Now they be grieving, singing sadness that trickles trails of yellow light into the blue world. There be cages of birds, mostly mourning doves and grieving hens. They sing her sorrow.
The doves coo in misty gray tones. The yard birds scream, scats, bruising purple sounds. I am wrapped in a mantle of wounded sounds.
Everywhere, the white slavers move like dream shadows. They pay her no mind. She is a girl, small, ancient, harmless. They throw her bits of bread and fruits.
I'd be about 13, a black African girl child, sitting amongst the cages of birds.
The birds plead, cry, whisper,
let us fly. Open the doors. We will fly into the blue. By and by, open the doors.
She be there standing, laughing, holding the wooden pins as the gates swing open. Birds be flying all around her, the doves spiraling higher and higher into the face of the morning sun.
I be flying into the blue. Bye, bye. I be crying snot, salt sea air burning my eyes. So I be laughing, singing, crying all at the same time, and then flailing my arms into the blue and flying away too. Looking back down on the deck, I see the white slavers running, chasing the birds.
Too late. There's a girl being chased, too caught, grasping for breath. She is fending off the blows of the slavers. Silently, she burns while leather and fists reshape her body. Her head is on fire. Ribbons of blood ooze. Gripping and grimacing, the slavers ravish her body like great, great buzzards, they descend upon her, tearing into her body to rape and destroy an African girl child.
Swooping back down to the deck, I be seeing the ribbons of red blood dancing, swirling around my head. A crown of rubies reflecting all the moments of my life.
Seen from the village, the elders dancing, chanting, crying out for vengeance. The women planting, gathering, carrying corn, vegetables, the babies on their backs, all singing and pounding their feet, calling on the gods of the tribe.
I be lifting the girl child, holding her, being held, falling down, thrown down into the dark hole, covered with red blood and feathers, shiny, sticky with semen, leather and flesh.
In the hole, everyone is chanting, moaning, groaning. The ship is rocking, rolling, and with the sounds of rain and thunder, the blue sky turns black. The sisters of fishes shake the boat with a giant hand. We Africans call on the mother of our mothers. We reach and treat our fathers before us. Let us fly. Open the door, let us fly into the blue, the by and by.
Many tongues,
many hearts, many lives are seen, feeling, conjuring the same thing. Freedom!
If it be
death,
so
let
be
it
it
be.
now.
Now we are at the sheaf of misery. For days and nights the ship was tossing about, and I be holding on to myself, the African child with open wounds in the dark of the hole. The other Africans reach out to me, not with hands, but with spirit and songs. And they carried me to the new world, away from my home of white sands and greenness.
I be two girls, one to be nursed and the other the nurse. I watch over, the other watch over me in the dark hole with light and magic. Arriving in the new world, I be scarred and torn, but watchful. Chickasaw, Seminole, Chinese Filipino, Ethiopian Irish, African Negro, Chickasaw Seminole, Creole Black, red, white, yellow Negro, African Black, African Brown, African Yellow, African, the other.
We just heard Grandma Cole's story from the 2025 album Artistic Being, which is out now. Idris Ackamoor is my guest. Let's switch topics to Afrofuturism. Your work has long advanced Afrofuturism. Where do you see Black music and art heading in the next decade?
That's a good question. I can only talk about, I think, where my art is heading, and I think where my art always is headed. Speaking in terms of Afrofuturism, when I was at Antioch College in the early 70s, and I was a student there, I created, Antioch had a program called Antioch Education Abroad. And I wrote a proposal to Antioch Education Abroad at that time when I was, a major in music, I wanted to go to Europe, form a band, and then travel to Africa. So I wrote this proposal, and I submitted it to them, and they said, well, normally you have to go from Antioch to another university.
Yeah.
But we do have a program inside of our abroad program that's called Doing Your Own Plans. But you still have to go to university for part of it.
Okay.
So all I had to do was I went to myself and two other students. Margot was the original Pyramid member, and Kimathi Asante, who was another. The three of us were students at Antioch, and that's how the Pyramids were born. But it was born on this year abroad when we had to go to the University of Besançon in France, and we took 6 weeks of French. But then we decided not to go back to Paris. This is in 1972, fall. We decided not to go back to Paris because Paris was really crowded with a lot of musicians. So we went to Amsterdam.
Oh, okay.
And that's where we started to perform the Pyramids in Amsterdam, performing at all of those incredible venues they had, the Cosmos, the Paradiso that is still there.
Right.
And the Octopus, all these government-supported performance venues. And that's where so then we played all over the Netherlands for like 3 months, and then we went to Africa. And we traveled from Amsterdam to Malaga, Spain, from Malaga, Spain to Tangier, Morocco, where we stayed a couple of weeks. Then we went down to Casablanca and Rabat in Morocco.
Wow.
And then we traveled to Senegal for a week, and we got to Ghana was our base of operations for like 3 months. So I'm mentioning that in terms of Afrofuturism because I think Afrofuturism takes a lot of its tenets from Africa and from Egypt. We all know that many of us know that Sun Ra, of course, is one of the most visible proponents of Afrofuturism, or at least that's what most of the ecology or other people that really are thinking about Afrofuturism are looking to Sun Ra. The situation is also that Africa offers that beginning place, that foundational place that Black Panther, the movie, sprang from, and Sun Ra, a lot of his energies with Egypt. Africa became the wellspring of all these ideas that then have now become known as Afrofuturism. And then you're dealing with certain writers like Octavia Butler or other kind of futuristic African-American writers, artists. So it's become a whole movement.
You're right.
In all those early years during the 70s and 80s and the 90s, I thought, I was always just making my own music from my heart, from my soul.
Sure.
But it was very much influenced and inspired by my 9 months in Africa. And that has created that I think that has given us because we have this rhythm foundation. Back to specifically to your point, where it's heading in 10 years, I think that jazz, in many ways, has lost a lot of its audience. But I can say that also about the symphony and the opera, because their audiences are aging out. They're like getting to be 70 in the 70s and 80s. And so how do you relate to that younger generation, the 20-something, the 30-something? And so I think that in order to continue to be relevant, in order to continue to make a living, in order to continue to have a career, the art has to evolve in a way that basically brings new listeners to your music. And I think that having the bedrock of rhythm, of African rhythm, mixed with jazz, mixed with in terms of the Pyramids, we have this bedrock of rhythm. At the same time, we're very avant-garde with improvisation on top of it. So consequently, a lot of our audiences in Europe are the younger generation. We just did a show on the French Riviera in Nice, France.
Wow.
At Foundation Mate. And Foundation Mate there is one of the oldest art museums in Europe. And a very famous DJ, his name is Giles Peterson. He basically was a presenter that presented the pyramids at the Foundation Mate. But so we performed from 9:30 to 11, and then he came on spitting amazing music for like 2 hours. So it was like you had live music, then you had the DJ experience, and you had everybody everybody was dancing and moving.
Yeah.
And there was, I mean, an incredible span of generations, young people, older people. And so I think that is the future in many ways.
Yeah. I like it. I'd like to know more about your creative process. After more than 50 years in the performing arts, what keeps you creatively hungry, and how has your approach to composing evolved?
I call myself an artistic being, because it's taken me quite a while to get to this place where my whole day revolves around music. I was able to do that because I have, through the support that I received from my nonprofit organization, Cultural Odyssey, that I've had since 1979. I've had this foundational support that took many years for me to get to this place where, I no longer really have to think about, money, really. I don't have to think about money, particularly because I've built this foundation through support, and it still goes on. So I live my day exactly how I want.
Nice.
And so doing, as you can see, you can see in you can't see because now you don't have video, but I have my piano in my
I see it.
I've got my piano, I've got my instruments set up. This is my home studio. And my apartment becomes my home studio. And the piano is instrumental in my composition. I started playing piano even before I was really playing extensive saxophone. But then I left piano once I got into high school, but I came back to it. So it's like piano's been in my blood. So I use it very much as a compositional tool. I use the piano and my saxophone and voice as a compositional tool. Sometimes I could just be playing the piano, improvising, and I'll come up with a melody, or I'll come up with a rhythm that then translates into the paper. It goes from the instrument, hearing it, playing it, to the paper. And then once I get it to the paper, that's when you start building it up. That's when the arrangement comes.
Yeah.
That's when the arrangement comes. So, and it starts like a child or even a baby. And it begins to walk and mature through the process.
Good way of putting it.
That's how I really compose. And the other thing, the way I compose, I really compose from something that can be performed as a solo to something that can be performed to the orchestra. So that's the range. I just, a lot of times I do it so that it has a full range of opportunity for me to perform it and to share it.
Before we play Police Stem, our final track on today's show, can you talk about how it engages the history of protest music and nods to Fela Kuti? What did you want to confront directly with this piece?
Without a doubt, Fela has been an inspiration to me. Has been an inspiration. And I call I say that many musicians I'm inspired by. Fela, Bob Marley, Cecil Taylor, John Coltrane, Duke Ellington. There's a lot of inspiration. My principal influence is my mentor, Clifford King, who I studied with saxophone with in my early days, who played with Jimmy Lunsford and Jelly Roll Morton in the old days. With Fela, he basically composed a very popular tune, and it was called Zombie. And I don't know whether you're familiar with Zombie. You know what Zombie? Because Zombie, and it's all about, because he went through a lot of political situations in Nigeria. He was jailed, he was beaten, his mother was thrown out of a window.
Yeah.
A lot of that was done by the institutional structure, the army, the police. And that's why he was talking about zombie, zombies just, police just go out, zombie, you tell him to do that, he does that. You tell him to turn left, he turns left. You tell him to turn right, he turns right. You tell him to salute, he salutes, zombie, salute, As an inspiration, I think about what we go through here in America. And obviously, it would also came around the same time that the whole George Floyd incident.
Yeah.
And so it's like police them, and so I came up with this, and police them is pigeon, dem, D-E-M, it's like Nigerian pigeon, or slang.
Right.
Police them, the police them, kneel on your neck, police them, shoot in the back, police them, cut you no slack, police them, all lies, no fact, police them, shoot you so young, police them, shoot you so it's very political, it's very social, but it's also it talked at the end of it, the lyrics at the end talk about police them, some good, most bad, police them, need them, so sad, police them, time they are trained, police them, we all the same.
Yeah.
So I use lyrics as a way to comment on what we go through, what African Americans, what people go through here in America, looking at it from the African American perspective, looking at it from the Afrofuturist perspective, but it's the human perspective that I'm really talking about, and I really get to the meat of it all through the human perspective, because it relates to us as that.
Right.
We're all human, and so that police them is a strong statement. A strong statement.
Yeah. Once again, a great setup. Thank you. Let's listen to the track now. Here's Police Them from the album Afrofuturistic Dreams. This is Backstage Bay Area.
So
That was Police Stem from the album Afrofuturistic Dreams. Idris Ackamoor is my guest, and I'm Steve Roby. Before we talk about your upcoming show at SF Jazz, I'd like to ask you about your legacy. Here's an abstract question. If you could send a message to your younger self in the 1970s, what would it say?
Wow. I think it would say, keep on pushing. You're on the right track.
Yeah.
Keep on pushing. You're on the right track. I feel blessed. I feel honored. My legacy now continues to be enshrined in ways that I could have never, ever imagined. I'll mention briefly that part of my legacy is basically several years ago when I had this, I started to archive my music, not thinking that it was going to go any, I just wanted to, all the music that I had done, I wanted to archive it and everything. But anyway, since 2016, I've been basically fortunate enough to be on with Strut Records as a regular partner, collaborator in everything that I've been doing musically in terms of releasing my music. And so 3 or 4 years ago, they wanted to buy my whole catalog.
Wow.
So they offered a 6-figure sum to buy my catalog of something like 25 to 28 recordings, some released, some not released. However, the wonderful thing about it, and this is the arrangement I've had with Quentin, who's with Strut Records, since I signed with them, and that is, I keep all my publishing.
Good for you.
All my writing, all my publishing. They just get the master rights of the albums and of the upcoming albums, the master rights. And for your listeners, master rights is, if you go on a record store and you buy a record, I don't get paid from that, but they do. But when you listen to my music on the radio or when you listen on Spotify and you download it, that's where the publishing comes into it.
Yeah.
So basically, the fact in terms of relationship to my legacy, now that is living with Strut Records in their vaults. They're going to be releasing my music for the next 20 years.
Nice.
And I'm still working on new music that they don't have any. I'm still, like, an example is this Artistic Being album. Also, the album Afrofuturistic Dreams were not a part of the catalog sale. So that means that I'm still generating more music, more product for my legacy that has nothing to do with what I sold Strut Records to.
That's smart. That's great. Well, let's switch gears and talk about your upcoming SF Jazz appearance. It's billed as the Night of Exotic Tress. It's a special dance floor show in the Minor Auditorium. What is the Night of Exotic Tress going to feature conceptually and musically?
Well, Exotic Tress is a name I made up for this composition. I perform da 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 da, and it's a very exotic kind of melody, And so that's the name of this composition is Exotic Tress. However, so I'm calling it the Night of the Exotic Tress, and we're encouraging people to dress up in your most exotic costumes. Yeah. Because it's a pre-Halloween concert event.
Right.
Because Halloween in San Francisco is a big holiday, right?
It is.
So this is like, if you really like the holiday, start celebrating it early.
Come on, October 1st, yeah. Come
on there first. And so basically, and at the same time, another one of my mentors, Cecil Taylor, who I studied with at Antioch College, he always was naming his shows. I never forget, he would name these very poetic names. The Evening of the Blackened Goat, these other amazing images, because he was a poet as well. And I feel also that I'm a poet. I'm a I'm a writer. I'm really write lyrics. So it is going to be in many ways, very theatrical, because the compositions flow in a very sweet manner from one composition flowing into the next. We don't sit up and play. We don't do like head melody, head out, as they say.
Yeah.
Standard jazz. But the thing I want to mention is we're setting this up in a way that I talked to you about France, about our show there. We talked about gaining new audiences from more young people,
Sure.
a younger audience, I should say. It's going to be set up so that, it'll be the dance floor will be open. There'll be the bar will be available for drinks. It's not this thing where you just sit down and fold your arms and tap your foot and just, listen to this, sometimes very adventurous jazz. And I have nothing against that. And you like that very concert aspects of jazz. I mean, there needs to be that. But this is not that. This is a being involved, participating in it, breaking down that third wall, that third wall, breaking, the fourth wall, whatever the wall, in theater.
Right.
The fourth wall. And so that you actually become a part of the experience. You become a part of this. You become a part of the celebration.
Right.
You can dance. You can, we come into the audiences sometime and bring the music from the stage to the audience.
I love it.
So it'll be a happening. And there'll be projections as well. They have this amazing projection system at the Minor Auditorium at San Francisco Jazz.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to. And the Pyramids will be joining you as well on stage.
Absolutely. It's a pyramid show. It's Idris Ackamoor in the Pyramids. I have actually my cousin plays harp. So she's going to be one of my featured guests, Lyrica. She's coming. She plays wonderful harp. That's going to put things on a level as well.
I can't wait.
So you're coming?
Of course. I'll be there on the dance floor.
Oh, wonderful. I'll be looking for you.
All right. I'll give you a wave. Anyway, let me remind our listeners, Idris Ackamoor and the Pyramids will perform Night of the Exotictress at the Minor Auditorium in San Francisco, which is at the SF Jazz Center. It happens Thursday, October 2nd. Showtime is 7:30 p.m., and it's a dance floor show, so that means bring your dancing shoes, dress up fun, and tickets and info can be found at sfjazz.org. For music, tour dates, and more, visit Idris's official site. There'll be a link in the show description. Thank you so much for your time today.
Thanks for having me, Steve. I've really enjoyed it. Thank you very much.
We'll be right back.
Hey, musicians. Would you like to be a guest on Backstage Bay Area? Just email the host and let him know when you'll be playing in the Bay Area. The address is backstage.sfbay@gmail.com. Now, let's get back to the show.
On today's show, we explored Artistic Being, a live recorded collaboration that features theater, spoken word, and ensemble improvisation. We also heard the ancestral narrative of Grandma Cole's story and revisited the protest lineage in Policedom. Idris Ackamoor continues to push Afrofuturism forward, rooted in history and aimed at tomorrow. This is Backstage Bay Area. Thanks for listening. I'm Steve Roby.
Thank you for tuning into the Backstage Bay Area podcast. Don't forget to visit us online at backstagebayarea.com for more insights and stories. Be sure to join us next time for more engaging conversations with local talent and touring musicians. Until then, keep the music alive, and we'll see you backstage.